Sustainable development is the pathway to the future we want for all. It offers a framework to generate economic growth, achieve social justice, and strengthen governance, said Ban Ki-moon. On that note, we extend a warm welcome to one and all present here. We request everyone to kindly rise for the Tamil Thai Varathu.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் மதனமென நிகழ்வனத கண்டமிதில் எக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு திரை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம்பியந்து செய்ய மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
Thank you. We request the dignitaries to kindly join us for lighting the lamp.
We now call upon Professor Mahalingam D, Faculty in Charge, Sustainability and Welfare Committee, BIM Trichy, to give the welcome address.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure in welcoming everyone for this event. So this month of October has been indeed very special for us. There have been many firsts as well. On October 1st, the orientation program for the prestigious Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Fellowship Program has begun, inaugurated by our Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, the first of its kind in India in terms of program objectives, selection process, as well as the orientation curriculum. We are indeed privileged to be the academic partner for the government of Tamil Nadu. In addition, October 6th is observed as the Food Security Day, a day aligned with one of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. In addition, the first week of October is celebrated as the Sustainability Week, as you all know. To commemorate these momentous occasions, we have organized this event, and starting this year, we will continue to celebrate the Week of Sustainability and organize various events and activities to promote SDGs. Okay. Now, I request my director, Dr. Asit K. Burma, to felicitate the dignitaries on stage. Shri N. Balabhaskar, former Principal Economic Advisor, Ministry of External Affairs, and Member Board of Governors, BIM Trichy. Shri Vishesh Gupta, Chairperson of Bharat Soka Gakkai, the Indian chapter of Soka Gakkai, translating Value Creation Society, which promotes its goals as supporting peace, culture, and education. Its founder and president of Soka Gakkai International, Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, is a renowned scholar who was instrumental in conceiving UN SDGs. He has received more than 300 honorary doctorates and citizenships. Welcome, Yuza. Dr. L.S. Ganesh, Vice Chancellor, ICFA University, and former Professor and Dean of IIT Madras. Group Captain Vijay Kumar VSM, Executive Director, Madras Management Association, Chennai. Thank you, sir. I once again welcome you all to this event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now request our director, Dr. Asit K. Barma, to give the introductory remarks.
So, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Respected Mr. Bishesh Gupta, Mr. Balabhaskar, Mr. Anshul Misra would be joining us shortly, and Dr. L.S. Ganesh and Group Captain Vijay Kumar, and all the dignitaries present here today, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear fellows in Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's Fellowship Program. So thank you so much for joining here today. So before I begin, so can I ask all the participants in the fellowship program to please stand and let everybody know you. Okay, please give them a big round of applause. Okay, so please take your seat. So it's a tremendous achievement on their part, and this is the first time Tamil Nadu government launched this 2 years fellowship program, and for this they chose BEAM as the academic partner. Usually the top IIMs like IIM Bangalore, they are coordinating the Mahatma Gandhi National Fellowship Program. So usually the top tier B schools, like not even the lower tier IIMs, but top tier IIMs, they usually get such opportunity. And this opportunity this time came to BEAM, so we feel privileged and thankful to the government. And this is the first project for the government too, this Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's Fellowship Program. And they are completely committed to it. And I got the assurance from the Chief Minister, Secretary 1, that don't get influenced, just do it your way. So this kind of assurance, and I have seen firsthand how the bureaucrats are working there and how committed they are, and absolutely clean selection process. And it was one of the toughest selection process. And if you, during the dinner, please stay back for dinner, and you can interact with the fellows. They would say that this is more difficult than even the UPSC and other tests. Okay, so we got about 80,000 registration, and BEAM website crashed for a day. I got call from Chief Minister's office that people are not able to enter, your site has crashed, because we never thought that 80,000 people and their parents and relatives, more than 100,000 people would ever come to our website. We never configured it that way, okay? So, but anyway, it's a learning, and we are doing it. And then finally, 25,000 students, they applied. 15,000 people, participants, they took the test, screening test, and that was pretty tough. That is GMAT standard. And if I have to take the exam, maybe, I would plunk, and okay. So that was done, that was very tough. And then I had some young, energetic PhD students, like from Arizona State University, we have Mahalingam, Dr. Mahalingam, just rise. And we have Dr. Sadrita Deb from IIT Kharagpur, she joined us. And we have Dr. Hari Haran, freshly minted from IIT Madras. So I now have this kind of young, energetic faculty with me, and they trusted me, they trusted BEAM, and they believed in BEAM's vision, so they joined. Trichy is not a very encouraging place to be in, unless you are as old as me, you want to live near, Srirangam temple, or, otherwise for youngsters, it's never a very exciting place. but they believed in the story. So with this young group, what happens, I could maintain that integrity, and the system was robust, and it was a very, very tough selection process. Questions were very tough. And in fact, the finance department, the finance minister, the secretary to the chief minister, they themselves went through some sample questions and felt it really good, really tough. And we had the go ahead, and not only English, but we had to do Tamil translations. There are so many interfaces. But thanks to all the dedication of my colleagues that it went up very peacefully. There is no hiccups. And we had this test conducted in 91 centers. And not a single computer failed because there are many critics. So people can always criticize the government, you know. So it went up very peacefully. So we had a screening test, objective type. Then we had a comprehensive examination. And after that, we had this IAS, that civil service type personal interview. So in that personal interview, the bureaucrats themselves participated. So we had one BIM faculty, one senior bureaucrat, even the members from State Planning Commission, their vice chairman, members, they were also there, part of these personal interactions. And we had one domain experts. Okay, so with that, we selected this 30 participants, and we had a waiting list, and we didn't have to touch the waiting list. Now all the 30 participants, they are already there with us. So if anyone leaves, they will end up becoming an IS officer. They will leave this program and join, but they are also fully committed. So this event is also kind of commemorating, this event, that our foray into this sustainability. So BIM is on a great transformational journey. Okay, great transformational journey. It's a completely 100% self-financed institute, and it's a school of excellence with Bharatidasan University, but completely autonomous. And our board is a professionally run board, and it's again completely independent. Our chairman comes by rotation, members come by rotation. This board is, it's actually not like other self-financed colleges or institutes, where again you have an independent board, society, but they are again under the influence of a single individual or family. It does not happen in BIM. So as a result of that, so what happens, we can contribute a lot more to the growth of BIM. So whatever we earn, that is plowed back into building the competency, building different centers. So we have created some competencies that is not there even in Tamil Nadu itself. Like we have a FinTrack lab with 3 Bloomberg terminals, lot of patenting work is going on. No other institute in Tamil Nadu, they have it. Of course, Kriya University have it, but they have moved to AP. So I can always claim that, okay? So similarly in marketing, we have this marketing lab, and now the other center that we have created is Center for Sustainable Development. So this initiative today, what we are doing, it's a part of Center for Sustainable Development that we are building. So it's just not kind of showing some initiatives on a PowerPoint slides, but it's something we are implementing, and we feel that we must implement it in the local ecosystem. So for that, we are working closely with Irrigation Management Technology Institute, Training Institute in Trichy. We are working with a lot of dairy and other food processing farms in Trichy. We have tied up with AIML farm in Hyderabad. We have signed MOU with International Center for Clean Water at IIT Madras Research Park. With that, we are creating an ecosystem where we can effectively address some of the sustainability issues. One issue like, say, water analytics. So this is how we are trying to contribute. And this event, again, is not just doing an event, but it is, again, reaffirming our commitment to sustainability. So the program that we have crafted for this, for the young fellows, so it has the best practices of all the fellowship programs globally. We have heavily borrowed from what is taught at IIM Bangalore, part of Mahatma Gandhi National Fellowship Scheme. We have also taken from University of Sussex, University of Harvard, And it's a beautiful package that they have today. So they are learning the impact of anthropology, in this sustainability, in the policy making, ecology in policy making, the gender diversity, the women empowerment, different energy issues, and water management, different dimensions that impact sustainability and how policies need to be created around that. So just in continuation to that, we thought this event could be a larger awareness creation where we will get exposed to, there are few other, you can sit, there is place. There are few other dimensions of sustainability we'll witness today. We have Mr. Bishesh Gupta. He will talk about how the sustainable human behavior can address the SDG issues. Okay. We also have Mr. Bala Bhaskar. He was the former director at BIM, and he is also on the board of BIM. He will be sharing his experience of Auroville, how sustainable living was made possible. We have Mr. Anshul, Misra, and he is coming. He'll be a little late, but he'll be joining us shortly, and he'll be talking about sustainability in urbanization. Okay, so whenever we do urbanization, there are a lot of hue and cry on sustainability matters. So he will be addressing that. And I request Professor Ganesh, my good friend and my senior at IIT Madras, to sum up, to say that how sustainability can be seen with a systemic lens. Like there are so many fragments of issues and how they can be all pieced together and how that can impact the policy making. So with this, I leave this forum. I think I've taken more time, so people are getting a little restless. So thank you so much for joining here, and thank you so much. Yeah. So.
Thank you, sir. We now request Sri N. Bala Bhaskar to share about Auroville's experience and challenges in ushering sustainable development.
This is the clicker. This is the right hand. Column. Okay. It's coming there. Well, good evening, dear friends, distinguished fellow speakers on the dais, all the visitors here. So I've been asked to speak about the Auroville experience in sustainable development. So, and in 20 minutes, we will try to rush through what the experience of Auroville is. How many of you have been to Auroville? Yeah, many of you have been to Auroville. So Auroville evokes different images in the minds of people. So you see the Matri Mandir in the center of Auroville, or you see lots of foreigners and Indians, cavorting together there. In fact, Mr. S.B. Chavan, who used to be a minister when Auroville was taken over by the central government, he came long afterwards when I was secretary in Auroville in 97. So he was very upset about Mrs. Gandhi's decision to take over Auroville. So when I went to receive him at the Raj Nivas in Pondicherry and brought him, I came in the same car with him. So he was telling me, are these foreigners still going around in their underpants? This is what he asked me. So it evokes different images in the minds of different people. So Auroville is supposed to be a city ultimately for 50,000 people in a circle which is 5 kilometers in diameter. It's 2.5 kilometer radius. It's a 5 kilometer diameter circle with two circles. The inner circle represents the city and the outer circle represents the green belt. So this was the vision of a town which will accommodate 50,000 people in a green environment, The word sustainable was not fashionable when these were being thought of. So it is never mentioned in any of the things. What I tell people is when you ask about Auroville, what is it? They have different views. Even now, some of you, if you read the news, there is a lot of controversy going on in Auroville. People are saying that you should not make the road. City is not so important. Human behavior is more important. We are spiritual place. We should become spiritual beings, not bring people just like that and build a city and all that. All that controversy is going on in the news, you might have seen. So I tell people that it's like the 6 blind men of Hindustan who feel a elephant somewhere. You see one aspect and then you think this is the whole thing. But Auroville is a really complex vision, and it came from the vision of Sri Aurobindo. Now, I'm not plugging for any cult or any sect or something, but I'm just telling you the facts of the matter. Sri Aurobindo was, as you all know, he was a revolutionary who became a spiritual being, came to Pondicherry and lived there. And he gave a message on the eve of independence, India's independence. It's a famous 5 dreams messages. Some of you might have read it. Otherwise, I suggest that everyone should read the 5 dreams of Sri Aurobindo. So the 5th dream gives one of his core philosophies. Aurobindo said that the man is a transient being. In the evolutionary chain, you are one other link. From here, you have to go to the next stage of what we call the Superman or, this thing. So for that, you must you must rise in consciousness. And he said that it will happen in Sangha. The Indian concept of Sangha is a synergy which arises when people get together. Good people get together. It is not A plus B, but something like A square plus A plus B square. So you get a lot of synergy than just adding up the individual energies of these people. Now, Sri Aurobindo was a dreamer, he was a philosopher, he was a poet, but he was not a doer. The doer was the mother who was his spiritual partner. So she was the doer, and she is the one who organized the Aurobindo Ashram. And she is the one who gave shape to Auroville. She wanted to give shape to Auroville. In the 1960s, she started. And she set it down. What is the real purpose of Auroville? He says Auroville has to be this thing for changing the world, or in the evolutionary run, you must go to the next stage. This will be what Sri Aurobindo talked about with Sangha. People come together and they rise to a higher level of consciousness. I am telling you all this because the dialogue about sustainable development is secondary in the case of Auroville. So she said, on 28th February 1968, Auroville was inaugurated, the foundation was laid from a boy and a girl from 127 countries. And at that time, there were 27 Indian states. From each state, a boy and a girl, they brought a handful of earth. And all this earth was mixed together in the urn which you see there. You see that urn in the center, which is still there. This earth was put there and mixed to symbolize human unity. That earth from all the countries, all the states, everything is mixed together. Says all human beings are one and human unity, and they will all live together and realize this dream, 5th dream of Sri Aurobindo. So this was a UNESCO supported project. UNESCO gave a message at that time in 28 February 1968. UNESCO still supports this experiment of Auroville. So she gave a charter which is not very important. I just put it down. It gives the basic philosophy that Auroville there is no personal property. It belongs to everybody, and all this. It will be a site of material and spiritual researchers, everything. Again, as I said, sustainable development is not there. It has got to be a new thing rising to a higher level. This is the charter which she gave. In 1968, this is how the land looked. This bus is supposed to be one of the caravans which came from Europe. People came in bus loads, inspired by the vision of the mother, and they came to work in Auroville. And when they came, this is what they found. There was red earth, which is barren completely. There is no irrigation, no water, nothing. In 1968. This is what Auroville is now. It's a lush green forest. I think 2 million trees are there in this area. And not only this area, but also adjacent area, there are forest experiments which are very successful, which people have done. So it is, I mean, if you want sustainable development, this is sustainable development. In 50 years, you got a forest, and this photograph was taken after the Thane cyclone, in which they lost about 40% of the trees. You know. See, what they did was initially they planted trees which will grow fast, which were brought from abroad. They mostly what they call the work tree, which is Acacia auriculiformis. So that was planted and it grew very fast. But like eucalyptus, it has got its disadvantages. But they had a plan. They first planted this and then they planted indigenous trees. Once the soil got loosened, when there was more this thing, then they planted indigenous trees. Now a lot of indigenous trees are there. So the geographical center is the banyan. You know, there is a banyan near the Matri Mandir. So as I was telling our friend group captain here before the meeting started, it's a very interesting story. The mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram has never set her foot in Auroville. She has never visited even once. So it all from her vision only, she gave directions. And I have met the person who was in charge of this project, is no more now, Shyam Sundar. So he told me that mother told him that you have to go there, and she put her finger on the map, and this is where the geographical center of Auroville is there. So there is a banyan there, and you must keep it as the center and then go around buying land around it. So he went first and went and saw. He could not find the banyan. So he went back and told the mother, mother, there are two problems. One, firstly, the place where you put your finger, it is in Tamil Nadu, not in Pondicherry. And secondly, there is no banyan there. Then she laughed, she said, there are two banyans. What are you saying? There are two banyans. The smaller banyan is the center of Auroville. Secondly, it has to be in Tamil Nadu because these fellows cannot touch you and those fellows will not bother you. So she was a very practical person, you know. Those fellows meaning government. Tamil Nadu government will not bother about you because you are too far away. Pondicherry fellows cannot touch you, you are out of their jurisdiction. It's a very magical place. You know, 15th of August also happens to be Sri Aurobindo's birthday. So and 28th February is Auroville's birthday foundation day. So they have a early morning gathering. I mean, at 4 o'clock, people gather at the amphitheater, which is in front of the Auroville thing. Then they have a bonfire. They sit quietly and meditate. It's an experience which cannot be described. I mean, there are people from all the nearby villages, they come, from faraway places they come. Some people come from abroad for this occasion. They come and sit there quietly, meditate, sit there. Not even meditate, just sit quietly, watch the fire rise up, and, you know, after the sun rises, they disperse, meet each other and disperse. It is something which is indescribable kind of an experience. This is inside the Matri Mandir. They have the world's largest crystal, and where the light is down into that, and you sit. They don't call it meditation, they call it concentration, discover yourself, and something like that. This is the picture of Roger Ange. We start with our sustainable development. She gave a sketch. She said 50,000 people in different zones in this city. One cultural section, one international section, one industrial zone, and a residential zone. So this is the sketch which she drew, and this gentleman you see there is Roger Ange, very famous French architect, who was the chief architect of Auroville. He designed the Matri Mandir, he designed the town plan of Auroville and all. So Auroville's sustainable development experience, lots of different things are having. I'm just giving you a flavor. There are lots more, can't cover it in 20 minutes. Now this is a place called Agni Jata. It is a house which was built in raw clay. Like you make a pot, you put in raw clay and then put firewood and burn the whole house up. You know, instead of burning a brick and building a house, you build a house with raw clay and then burn it. So this house still stands. This was done by a person called Ray Meeker, who is not in Auroville, who runs the Golden Bridge Pottery in Pondicherry. You know, Ray Meeker is known all over the world as a potter. He makes ceramics. And he designed and, literally burnt this house up, not burnt the house down. You know. So, and then they did all these avant-garde kind of house designs. You know, this is Roger Ange's design. It doesn't look like a house, but it is a house. It is the early design of various types of experiment of houses they started doing in Auroville. So, at that time, they were not so much concerned about, energy positive houses and all that. These houses are not really energy positive. This is the Indian Pavilion, or what is called Bharat Niwas. The international zone which Mother talked about, there are different countries who are supposed to come and build their pavilions. There are only two which is complete still. One is the Tibetan Pavilion, which we built ourselves, and the Indian Pavilion, of course, is there. So others are all in different stages, and it is there. And the Bharat Niwas is the Indian Pavilion. This was, the design was chosen out of a competition. It has got a 700-seater auditorium and this thing. And this is the Tibetan Pavilion, which is built like a mandala. And that's a really good building. It's a sustainable building. It doesn't require fans or air conditioners and things like that. So, and this is really as time went on, people were concerned more and more about sustainability, energy positive buildings and all that. So this is what is called the Humanscapes. It's a building for housing, and it's supposed to be a model for replicating elsewhere, for expanding townships, the basic core idea. Because what happens when urban spaces are expanding, it's unplanned way it expands. You are only reacting to the development rather than actively planning something. So, Humanscapes was an attempt by an architect called Suhasini Iyer. She is also quite famous. She has designed many the senior citizens' homes and things like that. And also on the main road, you've seen some energy positive restaurants and things like that designed by her, Suhasini Iyer. She designed this where you are trying to replicate something like a Greek city model. You know, when Socrates lived, everybody could walk around, everybody knew each other. So it's units of 5,000 people, 500 to 5,000 people who will be self-contained. Everything is available there they can do everything. They can work in the same area by walking distances and things like that. So this, it was very difficult to get money from the government for this experiment. I was there at that time. We went and sold it to the then existent Planning Commission. The Planning Commission agreed, but the other ministries did not agree. So there was a lot of problem in getting money, but then what was supposed to be a 5,000 people unit, now it's a 500 people unit, because they gave only that much money. So this is there, you can go and see it. It's Humanscapes was built, and the architect got an award in Edinburgh for sustainable architecture, but it doesn't enthuse people in India, I think. Then you have organic cotton experiments. The lady in the white there is Uma Prajapati, a graduate from National Institute of Fashion Technology, who runs the Janaki boutiques. If you've been to Mysore or Pondicherry or something, she runs the Janaki boutiques manufactured in Auroville. And she has a fashion show with organic cotton, this thing, so I thought I'll just put one slide of that. She, Uma Prajapati, became very famous with this doll. I don't know whether any of you have seen it. This was shipped quite a lot to many countries after the tsunami. This doll is called Tsunamika. It was made by the victims of the tsunami. The women, fisher women, who did not have a sense of identity, lost their livelihoods and everything. So they made them do these small dolls from rags, and then it was sent free to many countries to be attached to some merchandise or something like that. It became very popular in the 2005 to 2010. Then you have Auroville runs a lot of businesses. Auroville has to his own economy. It has to generate these things and all. So they have this Moroma, which is quite popular abroad. The incense sticks which they make. This is the biggest business in Auroville. Now in the news for the wrong reasons. This is because in their campus some icons were recovered or something like that. But these are the people who run the Moroma business. Then you have this organic dyes, vegetable dyes. This is a Spanish person called Jesus. He runs this organic cotton dyed with vegetable dyes, and this is a indigo vat. For some time I was working in the handloom sector in the 1980s. So I have seen these indigo dyes in Bengal and many other places. They are really difficult to go into. They were usually very dirty and filthy and very this thing. And now this is a indigo dye. You see that covered this thing, the vat is inside the ground, and it's so beautiful. You put column around it and things like that. So, if you want something which can be done beautifully, aesthetically, and in a very sustainable manner, we have to learn from these people. So this is, of course, the education system in Auroville. Auroville doesn't follow the education system outside. They've got broadly 3 schools. This is the kindergarten. The kindergarten which is there in the Auroville, this thing. They don't have exams in any of these schools. Then they have a transition school. 6 to 14, the children study in the transition school. And then they go to what is called the last school. This is the last school. The last school, you can be there from 14 to year 70. There is no problem. Anybody can attend. It's very free. So you can attend the school all the time. You study whatever you want to study. You find a teacher. Somebody will come and teach you. And it goes on like that. And there are no exams, no certificates, nothing. And it's expected that they will join Auroville. Now, that education is really good. My son studied in the law school for 4 years. Of course, we were worried as parents, so we made him do a A-level examination and then join a 5-year law course. But otherwise, his classmates and all, many of them are in Auroville and they are doing quite well. This is the Center for Scientific Research, where more experiments or more initiatives for sustainable development are undertaken. Now it's lost a little bit of vitality, I think. I am out of the place, but what you see in front is ferrocement. That sculpture type of thing is ferrocement. The Indian standard for ferrocement was written in Auroville, in the Center for Scientific Research, which is there. It was written there only. And ferrocement has become very popular in the local area. They've trained a lot of workmen. So they do these ferrocement panels which make compound walls, very quick compound walls, or you can make roofs and things like that. I am doing it the wrong way. Then they also developed the vortex system for wastewater treatment, for sewage treatment. They do this vortex thing. It's very beautiful. You have this silicon kind of cylinders in which the aeration is done by introducing a vortex. The water swirls and it gets aerated, and it gets purified, secondary treatment. There are working systems in the Aravind Eye Hospitals in Pondicherry and other places. In Varagadam, a lot of these colonies have put up their systems. I have not seen that, but they have done a lot of these systems there. So this was developed there in for sewage water treatment in this thing. And then we have the UNESCO chair on mud architecture. This is a Frenchman. He has taken the name Satprem. So he's a very remarkable person. I think slightly autistic in my opinion, but he's because you cannot talk anything else to him. So, but he is the person who has introduced these compressed mud blocks, interlocking compressed mud blocks. They are not burnt bricks; they are compressed mud blocks. And you see this hole under this thing. Inside the hole, you can put a rod, and then the another brick will sit tightly on it. So you don't have to do any cement for this thing, binding them together. So he is well known all over the world. In fact, he is the only non-Muslim who was invited to build a mosque in Saudi Arabia. So which is something, not. So he experiments. A lot of architects come from all over the world to train with him. He does this old-time arches, with bricks. He does a lot of arches which have got a lot of strength. One of those tall arches, he put about 10 people once on top of it and it did not collapse. So he was showing to me that they are very strong. Those of you who have gone to the Isha Dhyana Kendra, that Sadguru Jaggi Vasudev's Dhyana Mandapa, that big, that big dome was built by Satprem, but that was built with burnt bricks. He was saying Sadguru wanted it to be done within a short time. But it is I think it's a 26-meter dia hall without a single pillar inside. It's a dome, Auroville was a pioneer in harnessing solar energy. So this was done in 97. This is their solar kitchen where they cook food for about 700 people that time, now 1,000 people with solar energy. So that time it was the Asia's largest parabolic solar concentrator. So you have the fixed parabolic structure in which 200,000 mirrors were fixed. Small mirrors were fixed very meticulously. All of them will focus on a certain point, But as the sun moves, that focus will shift. So therefore, they had a moving arm which will move with the sun. So at all point of time, that the rays of the sun will be concentrated, heating up that arm. So earlier they used to have oil in that arm. The oil will go and heat up the water, this thing which will generate steam, and they will cook. Now they have converted it into, about 2 years back, they converted this into a steam rod. The steam is heated up here itself and then goes down. So this is still operational, and this is a solar kitchen where they eat lunch, mostly lunch they eat. All of them come together and eat lunch. So this is one of the experiments of, early experiments in solar heating, solar cooking. So they have a unit called Auroville Consulting, which started out as a pioneer in solar and other renewable energies, wind and renewable energies and all. And you see that one man sitting there smiling in the thing. His name is Tuan Van Megan. He used to be the chief executive officer of Suzlon International. He has installed windmills from Australia to United States all over the place for Suzlon. And then one day again he gave up and came back to Auroville. So he is the mentor of Auroville Consulting. So he is quite an authority on renewables and especially on regulatory policies for renewables, because that's a new field everywhere. The Tamil Nadu Electricity Regulatory Authority and all these people, they take his advice, not act on it most of the time, but they do consult him. The many regulatory policies or written by Auroville Consulting, by this thing. So Auroville Consulting has done a lot of work for people who want to do sustainable development initiatives. So for unlocking offshore wind in Tamil Nadu, these are the recent kind of reports which they have prepared for their big thing now is distributed solar energy, which is still having a lot of problems in implementation. So they've been for pursuing that. They have, for some districts, they have assessed the land suitability for distributed energy generation. And then they've also developed a template for greenhouse gas accounting. If you're a large industry and if you want to calculate what is your emission and how you can reduce the emissions and all, they train your people, they give you a template with which you can assess your this thing, greenhouse gas inventory and all. And there is they told me Librax, some rubber lining, they are very satisfied with the progress report because they followed that template and they've tried to reduce their emission levels. And one of the more recent initiatives is this gentleman who's sitting there in the solid waste dump called Ribu Ora. So he runs this thing called Wasteless India. So this thing is to teach children. So he has a course and some educational aids developed, which is called Garbology 101. Because he says you have to nip it in the bud. You should not generate solid waste too much. And that has to start with the children. You have to educate the children what is the damage it does and how they can be conscious and reduce this generation of solid waste. This guy you might have seen, and he comes in the TV, YouTube, and on many media and all. This is a person called Krishna Mackenzie. He speaks very fluent Tamil, and he runs something called Solitude Farm. He is a great disciple of Masanobu Fukuoka. He does this one straw kind of farming without effort farming, and he advocates all local things to be cooked and eaten. So if you do go to Auroville, you must try his platter. He cooks with all the local weeds and vegetables and everything. He serves food, which I think is 140 rupees a plate or something, but pretty delicious. I have tried it myself. So his person, his farm is quite amazing. It's a flourishing organic farm. Then there is an initiative called the Sadhana Forest, which is some distance away from Auroville. It's about 130 acres of forest, which one Israeli person, Aviram, who is there in the picture, and his partner Yorit, they are running this. And it's pretty basic. The facilities there are very basic. But a lot of people are on the waiting list to come and intern with them to replicate this elsewhere, the Sadhana Forest thing. So in 2003, the Sadhana Forest area was again barren like this. And in just about, this photograph was taken in 2020. So in about 17 years, that's again they've converted into a lush green forest. So it takes a lot of effort. They use all these kind of bottles to water the trees. They fill it up and make a small hole and insert into the earth so that drip irrigation takes place and all. But they've grown a lot of things like that. Then there is this boy called Saravanan, who has grown a forest called Aranya, which is also out of the Auroville main area. It's about 100 acres and a lot of biodiversity has come there after this forest has come. He trains a lot of children to become friendly to the environment, to be friendly to animals and things like that. This is not necessary, this is about the structure of this thing. So these are the things about Auroville, which 20 minutes I maybe have exceeded, but any questions if you have, I am willing to answer. And do visit Auroville. Thank you.
We welcome Sri Anshul Mishra IAS to the gathering. We request the dignitaries to light the lamp. We request our director, sir, to facilitate Sri Anshul Mishra IAS.
We now request Sri Anshul Mishra IAS to grace the stage and deliver the talk on sustainable urbanism.
Good evening to all of you. Apologies for arriving late. I was called for a meeting to Secretariat. I am supposed to speak on sustainable urbanism. I have few points on that. I'll try to explain what is sustainable urbanism. I'm sure many of you would be knowing what do you mean by sustainability, right? So it's like you consume something to the extent that it is enough for you, but it should be left for the future generations. Now, how to achieve that sustainability in our lives and how to achieve that in urban settings? Because urban areas are the ones where we see a lot of consumption happening. So consumption is one important thing which leads to unsustainability, if we can say that. And because we are not able to comprehend what will happen if we continue consuming the same way. It could be not just consumption of goods or maybe food. It is consumption of everything, including the concrete. The more concrete you lay on in the urban areas, that is also a consumption. So anything and everything. Now, human behavior is such that it's very difficult to understand what are the implications of such consumption. Most of the time, we reduce our consumption based on the income. Whatever our income is, we try to adjust our consumptions. That's where the indifference curve of choice comes in play. So I had an iPhone 8 a few days back. iPhone 8 is an old one, right? So I bought it some 3 years back. That time iPhone 10 was already there in the market. So I got in $200, so I bought it. And after that, I was tempted to buy a new iPhone. I somehow resisted that. But iPhone 14 vandudana I got it. Now, you can look at this issue from many angles. One is that whether I need iPhone 14 or not. Now, there may be better features. There may be more data storage, faster functionalities. So yes, that is required for maybe at this stage. So I migrated to that. But the amount of energy which has gone into making iPhone 14 or any other products like that is definitely one thing which we need to consider. So I finished my master's 1 year ago from US University, and there was exercise which they gave us to do, and the course was green cities. So they asked us to, there was a software, and basically we had to put our consumption patterns. So how many, what is the mode of transportation you use, whether you have a car or whatever, and what do you consume every day, what are the other habits you have. All that combined, the result was that if everybody consumes like you, we need 2.5 Earths, the planet, to live a 60 or 70 years of life. So the consumption patterns and the way we consume things, consume goods and services, define how sustainable the planet is going to be, how sustainable our lives going to be, and we need to really, really think about it. So there could be many initiatives like at the local level, like before me, sir was mentioning about how Orville area is being, developed and how it is functioning in a more sustainable manner. There could be local initiatives, but that is not enough, because the way urbanization is happening, the rate at which urban areas are growing is incredible. So what to do? We cannot stop it. We cannot ask people not to come to urban areas, because urban areas are growth centers and they give you opportunities for better lives, opportunities for better quality of life, opportunities for more employment, more income. That's what human beings want, right? So what we need to do, obviously to tackle this problem, we need to understand the concept of sustainable urbanism. Now, what happens in urban areas? Urban areas, generally we understand that more concrete, more buildings. But urban areas are basically driving the economic growth. And that translates into increased, personal income. The income of a person increases because growth happens. And that is economics. A lot of us don't understand economics the way it operates, because it is a little complicated. So we need to understand that, how urban areas are supporting millions of people all over the world. Now, whether it is good or bad can be a different debate, but it is there. So we need to manage it, we need to handle it. We can't run away from it. So how to make urbanism or urban growth more sustainable is the challenge. And it has many aspects. It's just not about the environment or ecology. The sustainability also is related to social, economic, ecological, and health-related issues of urban life. Now, we all are worried about environment. So we should protect environment, we should protect ecology. So we try to do something. There's talk about energy efficiency, reducing the energy consumption, making more energy efficient buildings, more energy efficient systems, more energy efficient transport systems and all that. So we are moving towards battery operated vehicles. We are going for solar panels, we are going for wind energy, we are going for many other sustainable renewable sources of energy. That is fine. But in the urban scenario, we also need to understand the social aspect of sustainable urbanism. So what happens? We have urban poor. What do we do? What does the government do? They basically try to provide housing for urban poor. But most of these projects of urban housing are not equitable in many sense. Why? Because you find a land in Tamil Nadu also, many states, it happens the same way. You find a land and you construct housing for urban poor. So the slum dwellers, they all shifted to that place. Two things happen. One, the environment which was present in the slum area, it just gets transferred to another concrete slum. Quality of life, there is no change. The other thing is that the people who are living in the slums were living very near to their workplaces. They are suddenly shifted to 15-20 kilometers away. So they lose their livelihood. So there is no quality of life improvement and there is no, there is no security of livelihood. So this is a challenge which is basically saying that the social aspect of urban sustainability is missing. It cannot be sustained because a large portion of people are losing livelihood. Large chunk of people are devoid of a good quality of life, which others have access to. So what do we do? Just to address this problem, what do we do? What we can do is we tweak the rules and regulations in such a way that we promote mixed income housing. So far, mixed income housing is not an issue at all discussed in various platforms in India. Most of the developing countries will not have this discussion. But you'll be surprised to know that the developed countries, the Western countries, they are already talking about it and they have policies to promote mixed income housing. So what you have to do is you have to incentivize the developer or the builder to promote, to construct smaller houses in all the areas, not only in faraway areas, but even in posh areas. If we develop a smaller houses, lot of poor or just above the poverty line people would be able to access it. So that kind of policy tweaking or tweaking in the rules regulations is required. Now that is one portion, but you will still say that it's costly and people may not buy it. So in that case, what we should do is we should reserve land in the areas which are near the core of the city to provide housing for poor at a very cheaper cost. So that is the way we can deal with social aspect of urban sustainability. Similarly is the economic aspect. So what happens when you allow urban sprawl to spread all over the city and around the city along the peripheries? The cost of transportation increases because the cheaper houses are available at the outside, the outskirts of the city. So most of the people who work inside the city, they have to travel that much distance, and every day they have to invest time and invest money to reach to their workplace. So that is a big challenge. Now it increases the cost of transportation. That means it increases the cost in the economy itself, right? So economic aspect of the sustainability gets hit. So to address that, we need to again work on the rules, regulation, and now CMD has come up with a resolution with a proposal of densification. Densification within the core areas, densification along the growth corridors, densification along the metro line. This is an important aspect. It's a new concept in India, but other countries have already adopted it. And we go for more dense development along the corridors. So what happens if you do that? You ensure that there is a connectivity between where people live and where people work. There is easy to access transport systems. And then you also reduce dependency on car. So the economic aspect has also an inbuilt aspect of environmental sustainability. So dependence on cars is a big problem, all of you know, and we all, most of us use car. So what happens that it leads to two problems. One, more cars on the road means more congestion. So it increases your travel time, and more cars on the street mean more pollution, more consumption of fuel, fossil fuel, and more pollution. So that is a problem which is which leads to both environmental issues as well as it increases the cost of economy. So definitely this aspect needs to be addressed. And if you want an urban sustainability, sustainable urbanism, we need to address these problems in an urban setting. On the environmental side of it, lot has been spoken, and all of you know how we are addressing this issue and climate change, etc. So that is one thing which CMDA has taken up in a big way, and we have announced that the two bus terminals which we are constructing in Kilambakam and Kutumbakam, we will go for net zero building. So large space is available in the bus stand, and we are trying to put solar panels to ensure that whatever energy required in the bus stand is met by the energy produced by the solar panels. So this is just one. Besides that, another aspect of social of sustainable urbanism, another aspect is related to social life only, is about the accessibility. So if there is a facility, there's a public facility, for example, a park, whether it is accessible to every section of the society, whether it is accessible to children, to old age people, to women, is it safe for women? So all these aspects we need to understand. Unless you ensure that it is not a sustainable urbanism, it is missing somewhere. So all these aspects of urbanism we need to understand, and we need to find ways to make it sustainable. These were the few aspects which I wanted to talk about on this issue of sustainable urbanism. And the challenge is huge. All of us understand that, and it is in each aspect of urban life. It is not just in environment, and we have to see that economic, social, environmental, and health issues. Pollution is a big issue in Chennai also. And Diwali is going to come. I'm sure you'll see a lot of pollution in the air. Chennai is still better because of nice breeze in the evening. But in Delhi and northern cities, it is really, really bad. That's why now court has come down heavily on these things. So this may be a temporary thing for pollution, but overall, if you see now you see the untimely, unseasonal rains. Every time, the whole year it was raining. And the extreme weather conditions, like 2015 floods. So 2015 floods, everybody has been blaming the government and the system that it did not work, and people are suffering and all that. Obviously, it was a disaster. But it was an extreme weather condition which happens once in 100 years. Now it happened because of, obviously, there are issues with climate, and climate change is happening. And if we don't take some serious steps, we will find it difficult to deal with these issues. On that count, one last project which I would like to mention is that which we have announced, I think you must have read in the newspapers also, is about an integrated shoreline management. So CMDA has announced to take up the entire shoreline of Chennai from Ennur Creek to Kolam Beach, around 50 kilometer stretch. And we are going to have an integrated plan to re-nourish and revitalize the entire beach line, ensure that it is conserved and protected properly, ensure that ecologically it is taken care of, and at the same time ensure that there is a public accessibility. People can access to their beaches. There should be a connect between people and the nature. So that kind of concepts we are trying to bring in, and we are going to form an SPV for that. So this is another way of handling such problems. So I think I'll stop here. I would like to thank all of you for inviting me here. I'm sure, I think CM fellows are here. So all the best to all of you, and you're welcome to come to CMDA and discuss on these issues whenever you want, and take up projects and these kind of interesting things for research purpose also if you want. Thank you everyone for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad to invite Sri Vishesh Gupta, Chairperson BSG, to address the gathering on achieving SDG through sustainable human behavior.
Very good evening to everyone. So Shri Anshul Mishra was mentioning about pollution levels. Of course, Chennai is much better because Delhi, the pollution levels have already reached in 3 digits. So right now it is early 3 digits, but we have Diwali in the next few days. So I'm sure these early 3 digits will reach mid 3 digits or last 3 digits. So respected members on the dais, fellows, the CM fellows, congratulations for your program. And members and faculty and students of BIM, and also my fellow members from Bharat Sukha Gakkai, members from MMA, thank you very much for organizing this program today evening. And also I would like to thank that we are invited as Bharat Sukha Gakkai in this Sustainability Week, which BIM has organized in this particular week. The relationship of Bharat Sukha Gakkai with BIM dates back to 2003, when BIM had conferred honorary doctorate of letters on SGI President Daisaku Ikeda. So I would once again like to express my deep gratitude to BIM and its management for the conferral and the relationship which we have been able to maintain over the last so many years. And I feel very privileged and proud that today I'm able to speak and share the dais with eminent panelists, and also in this August gathering with each one of you. So today, the topic which has been given to me is to speak about sustainability, but from the perspective of sustainable human behavior. So I would like to give a brief background to each one of you as to how this sustainable human behavior, this particular phrase, how we coined it in BSG, and what does it actually mean. So Bharat Sukha Gakkai, for those of you who do not know much about our organization, we basically engage in activities in the fields of peace, culture, education, and with a special focus now on sustainability. So all these activities are aimed at bringing out the maximum potential which is there in every human being, in every life on this earth, and how through this we can contribute to creating a better society, a better world. The point I want to drive home here is that it is not hypothetical that such a objective is there, but we try to see that what actions we can take in our day-to-day life so that we can translate this into reality. So as far as sustainability is concerned, last year in 2021, we launched an initiative called BSG for SDG. So BSG stands for Bharat Sukha Gakkai, and SDG is the Sustainable Development Goals. And this particular initiative we launched so that we could support the SDGs which have been launched by the United Nations. And as most of you would know, that the target of the UN is to achieve these 17 SDGs by the year 2030. And also most of us know that this is a tall target. So we have COPs every year at some place in the world, and the heads of the state, they come and participate in this COP, and they give new targets that we will achieve net zero in this year and not before that, and these targets keep shifting. So the whole picture looks very dismal, and as Mr. Mishra was talking about the floods which happened in Chennai and the incessant rains which have happened this year, almost throughout the year, there is no rainy season anymore. I mean, there is a rainy season throughout the year. So the whole year it rains almost in every part of India. So these are the challenges which we are seeing in our day-to-day life. And it seems as if these SDG goals with a target of 2030 as its completion really looks almost unachievable. So in our membership, which is close to 300,000 across India, most of them are voluntary members. Many of them are SDG professional experts, and they're working for UN organizations like UNDP and TERI in Delhi and so on. So we created a task force of 12 people, and we wanted to understand that how as BSG we can contribute towards achieving these SDGs by 2030. And one thing which we told ourselves that if we want this to be an inclusive effort, we don't want that someone, let's say only this task force of 12 people should be involved in this, but how we can involve each and every member of our organization, and beyond that, how we can start reaching people in society who may not be our members, but yes, they need to be part of this drive to achieve SDGs. So what we figured out during these discussions is that the role of the government is very important. And as we heard from Mr. Mishra, so many initiatives have been taken by Chennai Municipal Department. And all these initiatives are very important because few of them are such which needs the participation of the government more than anybody else. At the same time, it is very clear that when we talk of sustainability, if we stop at the action which the government is taking, it is very clear we cannot achieve the SDG goals. And in order to achieve SDG goals, we have to support the government. Now, you also know that the corporates have the CSR responsibility. And under the banner of CSR, which is mandatory, they are supposed to take a lot of action under various fields, and one of them is sustainability. But what we discovered in our task force discussions that even this is not enough. So what is it which is required? So while there are top level reforms which are being envisaged and put into practice, what is also required is a bottom up approach. And here I would like to talk about Orwell, which Sri Bala had talked at length, and how it is a thick forest now. So there is no magic which has happened. I think it is the effort of each and every person who lives there, and many people who do not live there, but they had that vision, they had that desire, that determination to make it happen. So what we concluded in these task force discussions that if we really want to do something about SDGs, especially towards 2030, we need to focus on each and every person. And we need to see that how we can have a sustainable lifestyle on a daily basis. And that is where we came up with this phrase, sustainable human behavior. That what is it that I can do as an individual? And before I talk more about sustainable human behavior, I want to share one of the conversations I was having with one of my cousins who is a clinical psychologist. And I was asking her that during the COVID pandemic of the last 2.5, close to 3 years now, a lot of mental health issues have cropped up. And these mental health issues we are seeing more amongst the youth than in any other age group. And this is something which is very alarming because youth are the future. They are the tomorrow for the entire world. They are the ones who will live and see the next century. So she said that there are many reasons, but one of the reasons is that the youth feel that how will we sustain whatever is available to us today? And whatever we are seeing in terms of devastation, whether it is climate change, whether it is the social fabric, joint family to nuclear family system, the lack of sharing and caring for each other, all this is creating a lot of vacuum in everyone's life. And therefore the youth feel depressed, and sometimes they have mental health issues because they feel afraid that if I live for another 50 years, another 60, 70 years, what will I see? What will be the shape and form of the earth at that point in time? Because while science and technology is advancing at one level, but the devastation happening in nature is also happening at the same or at a higher speed. So from this discussion, I felt that sustainable human behavior is something which is the need of the hour. So what is this sustainable human behavior? Sustainable human behavior is something which each one of us can and must do in our day-to-day lives. So for example, most of us are fond of taking a shower, when we take our bath in the morning and we switch on, open the shower tap, and that the water keeps falling from the top. So though it is very pleasant and comfortable, but we are wasting so much of water. So what we have started advocating in our organization amongst our membership is please use a bucket to take bath. Don't use a shower. Use a plastic, don't use a plastic bag. Use a cloth bag when you want to go out for shopping. So the government is advocating this, there is no doubt about it. But it is ultimately depending on each one of us, how we practice it in our day-to-day lives. So whether it is planting a tree in your garden or in your community, or whether it is having good relations with your neighbors, not fighting over petty issues like parking, etc., or it is switching off the electrical points in your house, when you don't need them, not just at the night time, but also during the day when you don't need it. Many of us are working in offices, the CM fellows, you use laptops, computers throughout the day. But how many of us remember to switch off the power connection when we leave for home in the evening? Because we feel that the laptop is switched off, so there is no need to switch off the power socket. But if you talk to an electrical engineer, he will tell you it is good to switch it off because you are saving electricity, right? So these are the few things we felt that, as examples of sustainable human behavior. If we do this, we can really contribute a great deal towards achieving these SDGs by 2030. So for this, what we did, we adopted a 3-step formula. So in these 3-step formula, the first step is about learn. So frankly, personally myself, I didn't know so much about sustainability and SDGs till we formed this task force and we did this initiative, which I have just shared with all of you. And I think the first starting point in the curve of sustainability is how to learn what sustainability is all about. What are these SDGs? Why they are important? And what is it that should be done in order to achieve them? And once we become slightly aware, we need to share it with others so that the understanding grows. And it has to go all out, from a student back into his family, and from the family into the community in a larger society, and so on. Second is reflect. Reflect would really mean that this needs to be done, but what am I doing? What do I need to do in order to practice one of these things so that I can contribute towards achieving these SDGs? And the third is empowerment and taking lead. And that is the most important step. Take action. Because I think on sustainability, there is a lot of talk which has happened all across the globe. A lot of forums have been created. But what is required right now is action. And when I'm talking of action, I'm talking of sustainable human behavior. Action in our day-to-day life. So with this 3-step formula, we took this initiative last year. It is more than a year now within the organization, that is within BSG. And I'm very happy to share that so many of our members who are close to 300,000 all across the country, many of them have started taking action. Even there are children who are, let's say, in primary, middle school, they are also part of this endeavor. And when they do this, the adults at home, they feel encouraged, because we all are hardwired inside. It is very difficult to re-engineer ourselves. But when we see children, like it says that child is the father of man, we are compelled to take action in our daily life and save water, save electricity, and so on. So during this course of 1 year, in order to increase the awareness in society, we are also organizing an exhibition called Seeds of Hope and Action, making SDG a reality. And in this exhibition, we are talking about people who have taken initiative in order to create a difference in society by taking action themselves in their daily life. And these exhibitions have toured many institutes, educational institutes across the country. We have held this exhibition in schools and colleges. And subsequent to this, wherever we have held this this exhibition, in many of these institutes, we are also creating SDG clubs. Now, the objective behind making an SDG club is that how we can sensitize the students, the young people, towards the cause of sustainability, and how we can help them to understand and take action in order to achieve these goals, thereby creating a culture of sustainability. What I strongly feel is that sustainable human behavior will really lead to creating a culture of sustainability. And that is what is the need of the hour. And in addition to this, every month we have SDG Day. And in this SDG Day, we invite some expert on sustainability and SDGs from society. who interacts with our members. So far, we are doing online because of COVID, and now hopefully we'll start offline soon. And in this SDG Day, members and other people from society who are taking action under the umbrella of sustainable human behavior, they also share their experiences. So the whole point about sustainable human behavior is that how can I be part of this sustainability drive? I'm not just sitting, listening and watching, but I am a part of this. It's like participating in a marathon, even if you're not a runner. Your objective is not to win the race, but your objective is to participate in the race. In fact, yesterday I met one of our friends who is a Gandhian, and he's also very passionate about sustainability. And we had a 2-hour discussion, and during the course of discussion, he dropped a statement saying, yesterday I ran the Delhi half marathon. So I looked at him, he's like almost my age and, slightly on the higher side weight-wise. But then he said that my objective was not to win in the race. I just wanted to participate so that I could feel encouraged and also encourage so many other people by being there. So I feel this is what we need to do. Also, 1 or 2 more points I want to share and then probably I'll close. In these 2.5 years of pandemic, we have seen many aspects of human behavior. So while there were people whom we felt were selfish, they were drawn into their own shell, they didn't go out, they didn't help anybody because they felt they will catch the infection, they will be exposed. While there were others who went all out. And when we had the Delta wave in our country, these are the people who went on the streets, got ventilators, etc., and helped each other. So we saw 180 degrees difference in behavior of people across. But the philosophy which we practice in BSG, Bharat Sukha Gakai, we firmly believe that even though this may be superficial behavior, but still there is goodness in the life of every person. There is something which exists in the heart of every individual, whereby that person can make a difference in society. So when it comes to sustainability, we may feel that, I'll take action, but I'll do it after 5 years. I'm very busy today. I can't do all these things. And they may voice it very openly. But what I'm trying to convey is that we don't need to feel defeated by that. We don't need to feel even surprised at this because these very people will also contribute as time passes by. So my request to all the fellows, especially the CN fellows today, is that if you can really take the cause of sustainability as part of your 2-year fellowship program and really see that how through your efforts you can create a culture of sustainability, because I understand that you will be moving from one department to the other within the state of Tamil Nadu, and you will have such a wonderful, rich experience. But wherever you go, if you can keep this sustainability week, which has been created as part of your 1-month orientation, and see that how you can speak to people, inspire them and motivate them, and ask them to take action. So I would like to close with the words of a noted Nigerian poet and novelist. His name is Ben Okri. These are very beautiful lines, made a huge impact on me, so I thought I'll share with all of you. He said that you can't remake the world without remaking yourself. Each new era begins within. It is an inward event with unsuspected possibilities for inner liberation. So I feel it is high time that we really do this inner liberation in order to address this cause of sustainability. And we should never think even for a second that someone else will come and do it. We should always be very clear and determined in our mind and in our hearts that it is me, I, who alone can do it. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So good evening, everyone. It's an honor to really be here and speak with all of you. I wanted to just speak a little more about the BSG for SDG initiative as to what Vishesh was just sharing. My name is Shruti, and I'm a colleague of Mr. Vishesh Gupta. I work at the Bharat Sukha Gakai, BSG as we call it. And in addition to all the other initiatives that Vishesh had highlighted that we focus on under the BSG for SDG initiative, one thing that we also did last year was to really work upon launching a dedicated SDG app. So 2 months ago, a dedicated SDG app was launched on Android and iPhone, Apple devices, and this is called the BSG for SDG app. And its purpose is to really spread greater awareness on sustainability. Sustainability can seem like a very daunting word, and everything under it feels like, maybe this is something that somebody else, some corporate head, some bureaucrat, some government leader can perhaps work upon, and not for me. But the idea was to demystify the world of sustainability so that everybody, right to the bottom level, the last person on the face of this earth, can really understand sustainability in an easy way and adapt sustainable human behavior wherever they go. So if you use the app, you will be able to really understand the 17 SDGs. You will be able to also participate in fun action points like a quiz or taking pledge, like I'll not pay bribes anywhere, or I will not make use of plastic bags, and so on and so forth, different kind of pledge. There are a lot of interesting vocabulary words that we often hear in the field of sustainability, but we may not understand what do these words associate with. So all of these major concepts have been demystified so that we can really understand sustainability in the most wonderful, easy manner. And the best part is, another unique feature of the app is that it provides a platform for all of us to really upload our actions on sustainability. We are all wanting to really understand, learn more about sustainability, contribute to the field of sustainability, but we may not know where to move forward. So it's important to learn from each other. The more we communicate, the Sangha was being talked about earlier. So the more connected the community is, the more inspiration we'll gather from each other to be able to really contribute to this aspect of sustainability. So this app becomes that Sangha. This app provides that platform for all of us to really inspire each other, motivate each other to further take action. So how we inspire each other is we can upload our actions that we are taking in our daily life for the goal of sustainability. And then once our actions have been uploaded, others can witness it, and they will also feel encouraged that, okay, I can also do something like this. Like if you're using a cloth bag and you click a picture of you using a cloth bag and you upload it on the app, then somebody else will feel determined that I should also do the same. Or if you are walking instead of driving a car, if you're using public transport or bicycling or any other aspect of sustainability, you just need to click a picture, record a video, and upload it on this app. And others who are using the app, they'll take inspiration from all of you. So this app then becomes the game changer in making everybody a hero of sustainability. That everybody can inspire the other. We don't really need one big hero like that who will come and kind of inspire. Everybody can inspire each other. So it's important that we become that one person to take action. So there's a Japanese proverb, one is the mother of 10,000. So it's not that everybody else has to do something, but rather if I become that one, then I can inspire 10,000 other people. So taking that ownership. So we put together a short video of about 2.5 minutes that showcases what are the unique features of this app. And maybe after the video is over, you can all explore the Play Store, the App Store on your devices, and start searching and downloading and using the app BSG for SDG. That's the name of the app. And I can guarantee that it will really create a lot of excitement in your own life towards contributing to sustainability. So can we have the video?
Thank you, sir. Next, we invite Dr. L.S. Ganesh to share his thoughts on public policy and sustainability, a way forward.
Yeah, thank you very much. Vanakkam, namaste, and good evening. Thank you, Bharatidasan Institute of Management. Thank you, Asit. Thank you, all friends who have invited me here. And greetings to all my fellow panelists here. I just want you to open your mobile phones and check on Earth Overshoot Day. Please do that. Anybody can voice what it is for 2022? No, I just requested them to open the mobile phone. Yeah, please tell me. What's the Overshoot Day 2022? July? Excellent. Last year? 2021? I presume everybody knows English. Otherwise, I'll be happy to translate to Tamil. Although Tamil may not be very, very fluent, it's my mother tongue, but my parents put me in convent right from beginning. I'm an innocent victim of my parents, okay? Fine. Yeah. July 29. Year before that? August? Excellent. I think all of you, how many of you do not know Tamil here at all? Completely. I will translate for your purpose. I hope you will permit me to indulge the majority a bit. Please. I will definitely translate. The overshoot day na enna theriyuma? Do you know what is? Enna what? Theriyuma? Do you know? Okay. So a few words for you, Shruti, also I can take along. Okay. Yeah. Overshoot. Abna enna உங்களுக்கு தோன்றது? Overshootனா என்னன்னு தோன்றது உங்களுக்கு? What strikes you in your mind? Absolutely. அதாவது மூலப்பொருள்களை நியாயமா பார்த்தா, if you look at it in all morality and fairness, நியாயம், நியாய, you know that, no? We should have exhausted the resources from 1st January to 31st of December. And what have we done in right, even from 2015 you can check, it's very fascinating. இப்படி மொல்லமா வர வர மாமி கழுதை போல் ஆனார் அப்படிம்பாங்க தமிழில். Translation is, as time went by, the mother-in-law became a donkey. It's a proverb actually, okay? So, I'm stating this because clearly we are messing up things. It's one thing to state sustainable development goals. Another thing, as has been pointed out correctly by Vishesh and Shruti, it's a totally different thing to practice it. See, you can't say, let everybody else practice it, but I'm okay with what I'm doing. That doesn't make sense. This is exactly what I call the paradox, individually comfortable and collectively disastrous. You know, we are sitting on a disaster actually. I want all of us to recognize paradox. Tanipatta Morela, I'm okay. Tanipatta means individually, I'm okay. Ottumottama sethu pottanaka gali. You know? Now that doesn't make sense. I give a lot of examples. I'm sure the fellows can recall all the examples I've said. Sometimes, like in our families, there are moments when we are individually happy. You put the family together, the family is collectively unhappy. You don't know why, but it happens. It's happened in my family also. I'm sure every family goes through moments of that paradox. Now, you can't say that, you can't extend the individual property to the collective. It's a fact. It's a paradox that we live every day. Okay, I wanted to sensitize you to this. My second point, because I want to finish fast, my second point is, I wanted to look at the population growth graph. Mobile. Look at how human population has changed across time. Usually you get graphs going up to 10,000 before Christian era, which means you're talking of 12,000 years of human population. And you'll get the shock of your life if you don't know that graph earlier. Because until about 1900, after after AD, you will find the graph is just moving a little away from the x-axis, time. Y-axis is human population. The moment you hit 1900, in 100 years, right up to 2000, it's almost parallel to the y-axis, which is population. And any mathematician will tell you what this function is. You don't need great intelligence. This is exactly what we call a shock to the system. And who's giving the shock? All of us, yours truly. We are all in this game. We are giving the shock to whom? To this planet. How? By messing up the resources of the planet. You can talk 100 things, value addition, this, that, etc. I've had a running debate with some stalwarts in IIT Madras. I can share the emails with you, where they claimed this and that about electric vehicles. Very important point. It's high time all of us did life cycle thinking and not operation cycle thinking. This operation cycle thinking is bullshit. Please understand this. At that time, I'm not polluting. Okay, I don't have a quarrel with you. But please look at the nonsense that's happening right from creation, conception, creation to condemnation. Then we will talk about what's happening to electric vehicles, batteries, etc. That's more sensible. Talk of the life cycle of what's happening. Don't look at a part of it. I just told you why parts do not add to the whole. Please understand this truth of nature. Whether anybody likes it or not, that's the truth of nature. Damn it. Parts do not add to the whole. I hope everybody has got this. This is called the Dirac delta function or impulse function. And any electrical engineer will tell you what's the response of a system to an impulse function. You don't need great knowledge for that. Common sense. The system will collapse irretrievably. This is known knowledge in control systems theory. It will collapse. You can't do a damn about it. So the lesser the shock we give, the better off we are together. Now you might ask another interesting question. But why did this idea of sustainability come? Here I want to guide you. A great Gandhian thinker, please read the book if possible, J.C. Kumarappa, The Economy of Permanence. Please read that book. It's just some 60 rupees or 70 rupees. You can even download it. I'm sure he wouldn't have wanted it to be priced also. J.C. Kumarappa, The Economy of Permanence. I want to underscore that in India, and particularly I know of Tamil Nadu, because I can talk confidently because I've seen elders in my family, my grandmother, my mother, etc. Waste concept kadayadu. There's no concept of waste in the family. Nothing goes waste. Everything is circular economy. Perfect example. So somewhere we have messed up. We've messed up our waterways. Since you're from Delhi, I think you know of the affidavit filed a few years ago by the Delhi government, that the Yamuna river is biologically dead, 20 miles upstream, 20 miles downstream. And then we say Gange, Yamune, Chaiva, Narmade, Sindhu, Godavari. I mean, come on. Whom are you fooling? We pray. They are Mother Ganga, no? She will take any nonsense from us. So put all college language, put all the shit you want into Ganga river. She will take it, no? The mother. My dear friends, this is where we are. I started with the overshoot day. I went to the population, J.C. Kumarappa, you got the idea. But there's something I want to read out to you and then close. It's a brilliant letter written by Chief Seattle. All of us must know this. And written to the white man in America. I'm just reading one part. The great chief in Washington sends word that he wishes to buy our land. B-U-Y, buy our land. The great chief also sends us words of friendship and goodwill. This is kind of him, since we know he has little need of our friendship in return. Please note, But we will consider your offer. For we know that if we do not sell, the white man may come with guns and take our land. It's what you call Godfather. No, we'll make you an offer that you can't refuse. Okay. How can you buy or sell the sky? He continues. The warmth of the land. The idea is strange for us. If we do not own the freshness of the air and the sparkle of the water, how can you buy them from us? Because we don't own it. How can you buy something which I don't own? Thank you. Good evening. Think hard.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this presentation on the BIM Innovation in Sustainability 2022 Award. It gives me immense pleasure to share the details of this award. The UN's SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, are a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet, not only now, but also for the future. Education regulatory authorities like AICTE, they highlight the importance of nurturing students to their full potential. This can help them to contribute to the development of an equitable and a just society. At BIM Trichy, as proposed by authorities or the regulatory authorities like AICTE, we have introduced a course on universal human values. Now, these universal human values are important at an individual level and helps the students to tie up with their family lives, the society, and also at the environment level. Now, if you look at, we have also introduced a new compulsory course for our first year MBA students in the area of sustainable and responsible marketing. Like Ms. Shruti has demonstrated to us the app of BSG for SDGs. I am happy to tell you that most of our students have been exposed to the app, and I am sure most of them would have downloaded and registered on that, and we will actively use it as part of our courses. Thank you for creating the app. Yeah. BIM Trichy is happy to recognize and felicitate organizations working in the area of sustainable development goals. We are extremely delighted to introduce you to the impactful work done by BSG, Bharat Sukha Gakkai, and we are happy to listen to the thoughts of the CEO himself, and a pleasure to listen to your thoughts. Thank you for that. And we are happy to share that this BSG and the app that we have seen, it basically highlights how is sustainable behavior for us at individual level helps us for a sustainable life. And I'm sure that you would agree with my observation that this has been done excellently by the organization through a gamification of presenting it through an app. We at BIM Trichy, we are committed to pledge ourselves towards sustainability goals at an individual as well as at an institutional level under the leadership of our director and the board of governors. And we are also looking at doing this sustainability events by committing towards a muted Diwali in the near future. And I hope the student community will be cooperative in implementing those kind of ideas. I now request all the guests on the dais, Sri Balabhaskar sir, Dr. Asit K. Burma, and Mr. Anshul Mishra, and also Professor L.S. Ganesh, in joining us to present this award to the organization BSG, Bharat Sukha Gakkai. Yeah. I request the founder to receive it from our guest of honor for this award. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. On behalf of all of you present here, I extend a congratulations to Mr. Vishesh Gupta and Mrs. Shruti, and also all the employees and founders and the people behind BSG. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we request our director to kindly present mementos to our guest as a token of our appreciation. Firstly, we request our director to present the memento to Sri N. Balabhaskar. Next up, we request our director to present a memento to Sri Anshul Mishra IAS. Followed by Sri Vishesh Gupta. Next up, Sri L.S. Ganesh. And finally, to our group captain, Mr. Vijay Kumar. Thank you, sir.
We now invite Group Captain Vijay Kumar VSM to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you. I got a nice gift, so I must formally thank. Vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to be there between you and the dinner. When Ajit sir asked me, he's a very old friend of ours and good friend, he's a part of a managing committee, that you want to do a sustainable development week. In fact, yesterday, the last 3 days, we had a 3-day discussion on sustainability. MMA worked quite closely on these 17 goals, and we brought out an excellent manual for NGOs how to implement SDG at grassroots level. So we did quite a bit of work, and I know this is a word which is extensively used, sustainability, tourism, sustainability, everything is sustainability is part of the thing. But what we understand, doing that, is that we need to protect the Mother Earth, and it's getting extensively used, and it's the duty of each one of us to leave everything what we enjoy to our children and grandchildren. That is not happening because most of us really use so badly, and for selfish reasons is getting very, very bad. So let me have the privilege of formally thank the distinguished speakers this evening. I think who made this evening really memorable for each one of us. Let me thank first Mr. Balabhaskar, IAS, the former IAS officer. Excellent presence in Auroville. If some of you now must have inclined to go and visit Auroville, if you've not seen it, it's worth visiting and seeing what a beautiful place it's been turned out to be. Thank you, sir, for that lovely presentation. We thoroughly enjoyed watching it. And Mr. Anshul Mishra for sharing sustainable urbanization. I know CMD is doing a phenomenal work of late, and where so many things are getting changed. As you said, the Mofussil bus is shifted. The traffic will come down substantially in town. And thank you. I know, sir, how busy you are. And thanks for coming and sharing your insight with us this evening. Then Vishesh Gupta, who is the chairman of BSG. Congratulations, sir, on getting the award. And your presentation is outstanding. And your app is a really fantastic thing. And I'm going to really suggest all my team members download it, because not many really understand what are the 17 goals, 18 goals, what's happening. Nothing is much there. And especially a dismal performance of India in terms of the goal which it will achieve by 2030. But I can tell you, sir, thanks to IAS officer, Tamil Nadu has done some phenomenal work in the space of SDG. We are almost there in most of the areas which we have to be covered. Thank you for your presence today, sir, coming from all the way from Delhi to speak to us. Then Professor Ganesh, what to tell about Mr. Ganesh? Whenever Ganesh takes the stage, we always feel he shouldn't leave the stage, because he's typical of a great professor who really gets involved and makes the people really understand what exactly we want to listen. He knows what exactly, and he's our well-wisher, mentor. He does quite a bit of work. In fact, the Innovation Award, he is the one who guides us. We have a National Innovation Award, which we do it, and he is one of a principal jury and guides us all through. Thank you, Mr. Ganesh. As usual, it's fantastic to have you with us. And Dr. Aziz K. Burma, what to talk about him, is one of the fine gentlemen, so humble, and who does silently so many work and especially getting the job done with so many people applied and interviewed, shortlisted to small little numbers in terms of the fellowship of Tamil Nadu government, and that is a really feather on the cap of BAM. Fantastic work, sir. Really appreciate it, and thank you also for choosing MMA to partner with us. And Satyanarayana for joining us and working with us very closely, making this event memorable one. And thank you so much. And all the viewers watching the program, over 800 people are watching this live. And thanks for joining. And please tell everybody to download the app. Each one of us should know what is STG. And thank you so much. Before I close, please join us for dinner. Before that, may I all request you to please raise for the national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे गावे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
We kindly request the gathering to stay back for dinner and enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you.